Beruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Kuf Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. 3 lines from the top. The Gemara had taught us that Rabbi Eliezer holds that Machshirei mitzvah are doiche es HaShabbos. That means those mitzvahs that not only can be done on Shabbos, but even those things that surround the mitzvah can also be doiche es HaShabbos. However, Rabbi Yochanan says, B'Shem Rabbi Eliezer, it's not everything that is doiche es HaShabbos. Certain things do not have machshir mitzvah doiche es HaShabbos as a klal, but rather we have to learn them out from somewhere else. And therefore, he says, Shtei Alechem, the korban that we bring on Shavuos, that's actually learned out from the korban oimer that's brought on the second day of Pesach. From there, we learn out that machshirei mitzvah is doiche es HaShabbos. Says the Gemara, but the other mitzvahs we do say, according to Rabbi Eliezer, are doiche Shabbos. For example, lulav, Omar Mar, lulav v'kol machshirav, doiche es HaShabbos. Di Rabbi Eliezer. Lulav, if a person does not have a lulav available, and he needs to then cut it down from its tree, so that's a hechsher mitzvah that he said is doiche es HaShabbos. Minole Rabbi Eliezer ha. The Gemara wants to know, where does he know this from? The there you can't learn out from oimer and shtei alechem because those are karbanos, and therefore that's a chumrah that we would say by shtei alechem and oimer that we would not know to learn out as a mametzino, as a paradigm to everything else, including lulav. Elo makro, rather it's the pasuk itself. I'll read you the entire pasuk because it's relevant for the coming Gemara. The pasuk says, "Ulekachtem lochem b'yom harishon." You shall take the dalin minim on the first day of Sukkot. Pri eitz hadar kapos temorim va'anaf eitz ovois va'arvei nachal. Usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem shivas yomim, and rejoice before Hashem for 7 days. So the Gemara now explains. The pasuk says bayom afilu b'Shabbos. Bayom, he explains, means to say that even on Shabbos. Now, what does it mean that you can then take the daled minim even on Shabbos? L'mai hilchasa, in what manner is it permitted? Is the Torah coming to teach us that you can take on Shabbos? If it only means that you can go ahead and move the daled minim, you can shake the daled minim. So there's no iser diaraisa of tiltul muktzah. As Itzir Krol Mishrei Tiltu, would you need a pasuk to say that you can go ahead and metaltil the daled minim? Certainly not. Elo lemachshirav. Rather, Rabbi Eliezer explains that this is coming to teach me that the machshirim of lulav can be doiche Shabbos. That means, again, if a person needs to cut down a lulav from the tree, then that would be permissible on Shabbos when Sukkot comes over on Shabbos. V'rabonon hahu mi boile. Bayoim v'lo balayla. Whereas the Rabbanan, they learned that the word bayoim in the pasuk ulekachtem lachem bayoim harishon refers to the day, during the day and not night. You can only mekayim the mitzvah of daled minim during the day and not night. That's what the pasuk is coming to teach you when it says bayoim. Rabbi Eliezer bayoim v'lo balayla minole. Where does he know that from? Nafkalei mi usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem shivas yomim. There in the latter part of the pasuk that we quoted says that you shall rejoice with this daled minim before HaKadosh Baruch Hu for 7 days. Yomim v'lo leilos. Teach me during the days and not at night. And therefore that's how he knows that's only during the day. Rabbanon, where do they know? It's trich. They say, I still need it. Why? Because I might have thought to say, Neilof shivas yomim misukah, that I might think you can still go ahead and do days and nights, just as it states in Sukkah, which is also a mitzvah during the day and at night. The mitzvah of dwelling in the Sukkah is 7 days and 7 nights. So too I might think that when it comes to then the lulav, it also is the night. Kamash malon. Therefore, it seems to teach me otherwise, that lulav is only during the day. Ask the Gemara, v'lichtav rachmana lulav v'neisu hanoch v'nelfu minei. Let us just write the mitzvah of lulav in the Torah, and that will be a mametzino, a binyan av, as a paradigm to learn everything else out from, namely the shtei halechem and the oimer? Answers the Gemara, mishum de'ika lemifrak, because you can ask on this limud, if you would learn it out from a mametzino, from the binyan av of lulav, we would say, ma lulav shekain ton arba minim. Lulav is unique because it has dalid meaning that are ma'akev the mitzvah. In other words, the lulav is not part of the mitzvah, it's required together with the other three minim. Whereas when it comes to the shtei halechem and the oimer, if you're missing, let's say, a certain part, it's not going to be ma'akiv, like Tosfos explains. Take a look at Tosfos parallel, Dibra Maschil, Shekain, Ton, Arba, Minim. Afal gav de oimer v'shtei halechem nami mevin imohem, kivosim, v'yayin l'nisuch, v'shem l'menochos. Even though it's true when it comes to these karbonos, there are other aspects that you're also bringing. The yayin nesech you're bringing. He says you're bringing also the shemen for the menachos. So then why is that different than the dalim minim? Why should the dalim minim be considered to be a chumrah that you can't learn out from? This is also ma'akiv. No. Shiny dalim minim shebelulav the ma'akvin zeh. No. The lulav requires all four minim. And if you don't have one of those minim, you're not mekayim the mitzvah of the dalim minim. It's one mitzvah. Kedamer beperek hakoymetz ubeperek hatcheles amrina hakvosim ein ma'akvin lois ha'oimer v'lois ha'shtei alechem. Whereas when it comes to the carbon of oil of an oimer and the shtei alechem is not ma'akev. V'hainu toin dalim minim she'ein mitzvahs lulav klal below dalim minim. Whereas when it comes to the mitzvah of lulav, if it doesn't have the esrog, for example, then you don't have the mitzvah of dalim minim. Aval be'elu yechol liyos mitzvasim below dalim minim. Whereas when it comes to the oimer and the shtei lechem, they're not going to be affected. You can still mekayim the mitzvah of bringing the carbon oimer rather, even it's not going to have, let's say, the yayin nesech, the shtei lechem is going to then be lacking the yayin nesech, and it'll still be viable, it'll still be acceptable. It's true, it's going to be chaser, but it's not going to be ma'akiv. Says the Gemara back. The Gemara now says, bringing sukkah, the kol machshireha, doichin es hasham zi Rabbi Eliezer. Now Rabbi Eliezer tells us that in regards to the mitzvah of sukkah, that all of its machshirim for the mitzvah of sukkah can also be done on Sukkot if it falls out to be on Shabbos. Let's say a person did not yet build his sukkah on the first day of Sukkot, now it's Shabbos or whatever. So now he can go ahead and boine, which is a malacha diaraisa, the sukkah, because it's doiche. Minole Rabbi Eliezer ha. Where does Rabbi Eliezer know that this is so? They can't learn out from oimer and shtei lechem because we said that's special because those are karbonos. You can't learn out from lulav either because lulav, we said, has that all dalim minim are required, otherwise ma'akiv the mitzvah. Elo gomar shivas yamim mi lulav. When you read the pasuk, it says basukos teishu shivas yamim. So in regards to sukkos, it says shivas yamim, just like it says shivas yamim in regards to the dalim minim. And therefore we can learn out there's a gilui over here. Just as when it comes to the dalim minim, we say the machshirim are doiche Shabbos. So too when it comes to the mitzvah over here of sukkah, it's also doiche es Shabbos. So this is not just a regular gzeira shav. This is going to now make a gilui that indeed we have the ability to then be doiche es Shabbos, as it states shivas yomim in both places. Ask the Gemara, v'lechte rachmana b'sukkah. Just right then that you can then say that machshirei sukkah are doiche Shabbos in the Torah, and that will then teach us to everywhere else. V'neisi hanoch v'nigmar minei, and the other ones will come and learn out from sukkah. Mishum de'ika lemifrag. Says the Gemara, no, you would have a kasha, a pircha on that limud. Sukkah is different because Sukkah is not just during the day, it's also at night. So therefore, you'll not be able to learn out, let's say, to the other mitzvahs that are only during the day. For example, like lulav. Matzah v'chol machshir doichin es hashabes. Eliezer is not also in the mitzvah of matzah, and its machshirim are also doichin es hashabes. Minolan asked the Gemara, Rabbi Eliezer, where does Rabbi Eliezer know that this is indeed so? You can't learn out from them because those are karbonos, as therefore they're unique. And you can't learn out from lulav because we said those lulav itself has requirement that you do with all dal minin. Otherwise, it's ma'akeh the mitzvah. You can't learn that from sukkah either because sukkah has 7 days and 7 nights. Rather from the fact that it says by sukkahs chamisha asar, so therefore we also have a gezerah shava to then learn out from sukkah to the inyan of matzah. Ma lahalon machshirin doichin es hashabbos. Afkam machshir doichin es hashabbos. Just like when it comes to sukkah, is doichin es hashabbos. So now we have another gilui that teaches us now that when it comes to matzah, it's also doichin Shabbos. If a person did not, let's say, bake the matzah, excuse me, then that baking would be a hechshir mitzvah, whereby it's doiches Shabbos. Ask the Gemara then, v'lechtiv rachmona b'matzah, v'neisu hanach v'ligmor minei. Just right then, the Torah should write only by matzah that, and its machshirim are doiches Shabbos. Then we will know everything else. Answers the Gemara, mishum de'ikah lemifrach, because we have a pircha here as well when it comes to matzah. What's unique about matzah that we could not then learn to other things? Ma lematzah shekein noheges benoshim ki ba'anoshim. When it comes to mitzvah matzah, even though it's a mitzvah aseh shehazman groma, and normally women are potter from a mitzvah aseh, a positive time-bound mitzvah, but over here it's an exception. When it comes to matzah, the pasuk tells me the same way that a person is also to eat chametz on Pesach, the pasuk goes on to say, and he shall eat matzah. From there we learn out that women who are also to eat chametz are also equal to men in that they're also obligated to eat matzah. Says the Gemara, Shoifar v'chol machshireha v'chol machshirov doichin es hashabbos. Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says that shofar and its machshin are doiches hashabbos. If a person has to fashion a shofar, which would be a malach of makeh b'patish because he's making a kli, when Rosh Hashanah comes out to be on Shabbos, it's doiches according to Rabbi Eliezer. Ask the Gemara, Mino lei Rabbi Eliezer. Where does Rabbi Eliezer know that indeed this is so? If you're going to learn out from Loimer Shtei Lechem, we said you can't. Shekein Sar Gavoya. Those are special offerings to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore the unique. They're more chamur. Ime Lulav. So then you can't learn out from Lulav either because Shekein Ton Arba Minim. Ime Sukkah Shekein Noi Heges Ba Leilois Kabayomim. Ime Matzah. You also can't learn out from Matzah, as we just said. Shekein Noi Heges Benoshim Uve Kiva Anoshim. Elo Omakro, rather, the pasuk says Yoim Trua Ye Lochem. The pasuk states in regards to the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, it calls it a Yoim Trua Ye Lochem. By Yoim, really the word Yoim, afilu b'Shabbos, to conclude even Shabbos. Ulemai asks the Gemara. The Gemara now asks, Ileimo, what are we saying? This is so. In what way is it coming to teach me that the hechshir of shofar is doiches hashabbos from this pasuk Yom Trua Yelachem, Yom and not Yom and afilu Shabbos. Ilay malitikia. If you're going to tell me to enable you to then blow the shofar, that's not a malacha. Hotan Rabbi Shmuel. Kol meleches avoida loy sasu yotzes tikia shofar udiyas hapas shi chachma ve'ena malacha. States over here in the Beis Shmuel that indeed blowing the shofar is not nechshav a malacha. It's considered to be a chachma, but not a malacha, and therefore the Torah cannot be then going him to matir something that would only be a problem with the Rabbanon. Elo lemachshira shirin. Coming to then say that machshirin are doiche the Shabbos when Rosh Hashanah comes out to be on Shabbos. V'Rabbanon hahu miboile bayom v'lo balayla. Whereas the Rabbanon need that pasuk that we just brought of Yom Trua Yeh Lochem to teach me to the day can you blow the shofar and make the mitzvah of Tekiyah shofar, but not at night. Rabbi Eliezer bayom v'lo balayla menole. Where does he know that you can't make the mitzvah of shofar at night? Nafkalei mi bayoim hakipurim he'eviru shofar b'chol artzachem. It says in the pasuk in regards to shofar on Yom Kippurim, when it comes to the Yovel, that they blow the shofar. They blow the shofar b'kol artzachem, the gamre mehadodi, and we learn out from each one of them that since Chazal teach us that it's stated over there that they're both on the 7th month, and that's really superfluous because we know that it's done on the 7th month. So Chazal learn out that the same way that it's taught in both places at the 7th month is a gilui to teach me that indeed that you can learn out one from the other. The shofar of Yom Kippurim to the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, and vice versa. The Gemara now asks what it asked before: Let's learn out only from shofar to everything else. We can't learn out the shofar from Rosh Hashanah. Because what's unique is not just the blowing of the shofar, the mitzvah alone, which is so, but indeed it brings the zichronos of Klal Yisrael before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Melech, on Rosh Hashanah, and therefore that's a certain chumrah, a certain uniqueness that only exists over there by the shofar of Rosh Hashanah. We also cannot learn out from the shofar on Yom Kippurim. The Omar Mar Tiku Bezdin shofar niftu avodin lubateim v'sodes choyzos l'ba'aleihem. Because on Yom Kippur, when that shofar is blown on the Yovel year, although it's true they begin the process of becoming freed, the slaves and the batim and the sodos, back to their original owners from the time of Rosh Hashanah, but only becomes effective 10 days later on Yom HaKippurim when the shofar is blown.